Miss Jackson, and I'm in 4th grade. That's my mom, Mrs. Bird, teaching you right there. Right there. Do you know how hard it is to have a mom as a teacher? Well, guess what? My dad's a teacher too. My mom says I can get my DS back early if I help her do this lesson. Let's take a look at The Grandfather's Journey by Alan Say.
Okay, say the title.
Grandfather's Journey by Alan Say. My grandfather was a young man when he left his home in Japan to see the world. He wore European clothes for the first time and began his journey on a steamship. The Pacific Ocean astonished him. For 3 weeks he did not see land. When land finally appeared, it was a new world. He explored North America by train, riverboat, and often walked for days on end. Deserts like rocks, like enormous sculptures amazed him. Endless farm fields reminded him of the oceans he had crossed. Huge cities, factories, and tall buildings bewildered him and yet excited him. He marveled at the towering mountains and the rivers as clear as the sky. He met people along the way. He shook hands with black man, white man, and yellow man, and red man. The more he traveled, the more he longed to see new places, and never thought of returning home. Of all the places he visited, he liked California the best. He loved the strong sunlight there, the Sierra Mountains, the lonely seacoast. After a time, he returned to his village in Japan to marry his childhood sweetheart. Then he brought his bride to the new country. They made their home by the San Francisco Bay and had a baby girl. As his daughter grew, my grandfather began to think about his own childhood. He thought about his old friends. He remembered the mountains and rivers of his home. He surrounded himself with songbirds, but he could not forget. Finally, when his daughter was nearly grown, he couldn't wait no more. He took his family and returned home. Once again, he saw the mountains and rivers of his childhood. They were there as he remembered. Once again, he exchanged stories and laughed with his old friends. But the village was not a place for the dollar from San Francisco. So my grandfather bought a house in a large city nearby. There, the young woman fell in love, married, and sometime later I was born. I was a small boy. My favorite weekend was to visit my grandfather's house. He told me many stories about California. He raised Walbers and Silver Eyes, but he could not forget the mountains and rivers of California. So he planned a trip. But the war began. Bombs fell from the sky and scattered our lives like leaves in a storm. When the war ended, there was nothing left of our city and of the house where my grandparents had lived. So they returned to the village where they had been children. But my grandfather never kept another songbird. The last time I saw him, my grandfather said that he longed to see California one more time. He never did. When I was nearly grown, I left home to see California for myself. After a time, I came to love the land my grandfather had loved, and I stayed on and on until I had a daughter of my own. But I also miss the mountains and rivers of my childhood. I miss my old friends. So I return now and then, but when I cannot still the longing in my heart.
Okay, read this again. Just start again, it's okay.
Wait, are you recording?
I'm going to cut it out.
Okay.
But I also miss
the mountains and rivers of my childhood. I miss my old friends. So I return now and then, When I can still not
No.
the longing.
When I cannot still the longings in my heart. You start again.
But I also miss the mountains and the... Start again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I also miss the mountains and rivers of my childhood. I miss my old friends. So I return now and then. When I cannot still the longing in my heart,
No.
the funny...
Hold on. So I return now and then when I cannot still the longing in my heart. Say it.
So I return now and then when I can still...
When I cannot.
Okay.
Okay.
So I return now and then when I cannot still the longing in my heart. The funny thing is, the moment I am in one country, I am homesick for the other. I think I know my grandfather now. I miss him very much. All right, let's read the prompt. Alan Say, the author, obviously sees himself in his grandfather. Describe what qualities or characteristics you share with a parent or grandparent. Be sure to include references from the story in your thoughtful response to literature. Now, in the first paragraph, you need to make sure that you name the book and the author and give a quick summary. Watch me. Here's what I have for the first paragraph. This Journey by Alan Say is the story of a man's life. The man is from Japan and travels the world. He returns to Japan but always thinks of California. His grandson grows to be like him, loving the two lands. Do you think you can do that? In the second paragraph, make sure to include the author's purpose or message and an example from the book. I think the book is about kids growing up to be like their moms, dads, or grandparents. In Grandfather's Journey, Alan Say shows how often times children grow up to be like their parents or grandparents. The grandfather loves California, and so does the grandson. This reminds me of how I'm a lot like my mom. We're both funny, like Thin Mints, and love to read. Okay. All right, we're on the last one. This is the easiest one. This one is the easiest one because you have to say if the author did a good job or not. Did you enjoy the book? Why or why not? I enjoyed reading this book because I liked how they both loved California and their homeland. I have a feeling I will always love my home and always new places I travel to. Do you think you can do that?